and welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for a new episode of A New Go of New Home Sales. I'm your host, Anya Chrysanthon, and joining me today is Farrell Middleton. Farrell has been in the home building industry for over 36 years. And currently, he is a consultant, has a new book out, which we're going to talk about today. So, welcome to the show, Farrell. I'm really excited to have you on today.
Thank you very much for having me, and I am excited to be here with you as well. Can't wait for us to get started.
Yeah, so why don't we start off by giving our listeners a little bit of a background information on who you are? So give us your life story. How did you get into home building and land development, and
Okay.
what your career has looked like in the past, and what is it that you do now?
Got it. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm a lifelong Georgian. I grew up in Savannah, Georgia, moved to Atlanta in 1982, married my high school sweetheart, Kathy, in 1986. We have two adult daughters that are here in the Atlanta area. We have one grandson. He's 17 months old, so we're at that stage of our life. It's a wonderful place to be. Let me be very clear. For those of you that have heard about being a grandparent, it's all true. Let's be very clear. Professionally, I went to Georgia Tech, graduated with honors with a degree in building construction in 1986. And I immediately entered the field in the Atlanta area with a company called Colony Homes. It's just one of the companies that's since been bought out years ago. But I was a manager at the age of 22. I have held mostly high level positions in the companies that I've worked for. I've been a director level VP of sales, construction operations, all of that. And I have touched about 10,000 houses, give or take, in some form or fashion in my career. I was a high volume guy. And so I did that for 36 years, working with both public and private companies over the years. And 3 years ago, I decided at the age of 57 that I was ready to, I guess, just provide a different service to society. I had a wonderful career, but my kids were grown. I've got a lot of years left. I'm only 61 years old, and I've got a lot of years left, and I was just ready to do something different and offer a different service to society. So that's kind of my why for the time being, if that makes sense.
Yes, love that. And congratulations, you are an author. Your new book is called A Performer, A Environment. So can you talk to us about what does that title actually mean, and how did you land on that ABC framework?
Okay, excellent. Yes, so the title is A Performer, A Environment. And what this is relative to our historical educational grading scale of A, B, C, D, and F. And something I heard a couple of times over my many years, and once it was about another 7 or 8 years ago, is that if you put a C performer in an A environment, they can become an A performer. If you put an A performer in a C environment, they will drift towards C performance and they will probably leave. You're nodding your head. You know exactly what I'm talking about, Anya. Yes.
Absolutely. It makes sense.
And yeah, and so the premise here is that if a business owner or leader wants to attain a performance from their internal associates and their external partners, which is a huge part of our industry with regard to trades and then professional services, bankers, mortgage professionals, closing attorneys, all of those folks, if they want a performance, they need to create an A environment. And if you can create an A environment and attain A performance in our economic society, I believe you just can't fail. You just can't. If you can do both of these, they're not extremely hard to do, but
Mhm.
it takes dedication and commitment and deliberate actions in order to do this. And I've identified traits of A performers, starting with attitude. And I've created a blueprint for an A environment. And the number one component of that is vision, mission, and purpose. That's the brief explanation of the book.
Very cool. So can you walk us through that 20-60-20 principle that you talk about in the book? And where do most people and teams fall on that curve?
Okay.
How can leaders help individuals move up?
Okay, sure. The bell curve theory, we all remember that from middle school. 20% are in the upper category, 60% in the middle, and 20% are in the lower category. And for my program, this relates to behavior, skills, performance, and results. And my goal is to help individuals and teams get into that top 20% in areas of life that matter to them.
Mhm.
And that's a big clarification there. You have to focus on stuff that matters to you and those closest to you. Don't spend time on things that really don't matter in your life, and focus on the stuff that matters. But the goal here is that, look, I can help people in the top 20% as well. People can always improve in some area or another, but where I can have a real impact is those folks in that middle 60 and that lower 20% of just giving them some concepts that they can adopt and embrace to live a better life. And a part of this as well is there are so many factors that influence us on a regular basis that we have either very little or absolutely no control over. And at the highest of levels, these are weather, interest rates, government influence, and other people. And all of the principles in my program, the book and my other program material, are 100% under the control of the individual and the team. Adopt and embrace these principles, and you can live a better life. I'm convinced of it. You can. Get control of what you can control. That's the key in success. And part of your question was, how can owners get folks into that upper 20%? Provide an A environment. Okay? Get an environment out there, let your people succeed, give them challenges, give them opportunities, and I think they'll perform for you.
So you're so right. I agree with you. It's there's so many things you can't control in life. And so I have a 13-year-old twins, and right now
Uh-huh.
that is something that I'm always trying to talk to them about is how
Mhm.
you react to things, right? You cannot control what's going to be thrown at you, but you can certainly react the way you're going to react. And that's going to be a big part of your success or not, right? How you react to things. So you talk about creating that success environment, and you name a couple of things like a vision and mission. So right now, many builders are really facing tough market out there. And I think that a environment can be challenging, right? When things are like going out of your control, what seems like. So can you talk to us about some practical ways how this environment can actually help somebody succeed, and how can owners of the companies ensure that, especially in tough times like now, that they are able to create that A environment? Let's dive a little bit more into that vision, mission. What else did you say? I didn't catch the other one.
Vision, mission, purpose was part of that one. But sure, sure, no, great question. I've actually got seven components in my A environment blueprint. And the first one, as I mentioned, is I just title it vision, but it's vision, mission, purpose. And I like to start out with this. Without vision, leadership, and direction, you will end up somewhere, but you
Mhm.
don't know where it will be, and you won't know when you get there. All right? You're nodding my head. You know what I'm talking about here, right? Yes.
Yep.
And so the vision here is it's the why. Why do we get up every day and do what it is that we do? And part of this on the home building side of things is this can relate to what is the product that you want to offer to the marketplace. And there are millions of all kinds of product out there. I was a high volume guy, mostly in what I will call entry level. All right. And people, it's value housing, affordable housing. I call it entry level, first time home buyer. And then move up buyer. I was not a high end custom home builder. That would not have suited me well for my talents. I know some great high end custom builders out there. I'm amazed at what they can build. That wasn't for me. And but basically, what is it that you want to build? And that gets into townhouses as well, single family detached versus townhouses. You have to decide what you're good at and what it is you want to pursue. And what a lot of people do, not only in home building, but in other industries as well, they do what is called chasing the shiny object.
Mhm.
And I know from a marketing standpoint, a lot of people can understand exactly what I'm saying. That temptation is really hard to overcome, but you have to do it. Don't chase the shiny objects. Get grounded in what it is that you are really good at and become the best at it. And people will seek you out. So that's on the vision side of things. My next component is leadership. You have to have good leadership. And the question is, do people want to follow an effective leader or a poor leader? I think we all know the answer. And I've got some leadership principles. I have actually, aside from the book, I've got a very good leadership program. And one of the main parts of being a good leader is defining reality. And reality is current market conditions. Interest rates are over 6%. Okay, they are, and they're over 6% for every single builder out there. That nobody's got a different angle, except you do buy downs on a few things here and there for some promotional type stuff. But generally speaking, that's where they are. That's the reality. And so if the leadership can define reality on a routine basis with, okay, what are the circumstances we are facing? And this is internal stuff as well. How many lots do we have that we can build on? How many houses can we actually produce this fiscal year? What is the real timing of getting plats recorded these days. In the Atlanta area, that is a huge problem. And I'm assuming it's the same way across the country as well. Municipal government there are challenges right now for all the reasons that we know. But defining reality is part of, are we going to have that plat recorded in 60 days, or is it going to be 120 days? You got to get your hands on it. If you get your hands on it, then you can plan accordingly and make proper decisions. So those are just a couple of things. I've got several other ones, but those are some pretty darn good ones there, I think.
Absolutely. And your 36 years of working in home building industry, you've probably seen a ton of leaders. You were a leader yourself. So
Mhm.
how would you rate yourself like early in your career versus later in your career on this leadership curve? And can you talk about any leaders that are like stand out to you in home building industry?
Okay, sure. Yeah, so for me, like I said, I started out, I was a manager at the age of 22 or early on, so I was in a leadership role. And I was young, I had a lot to learn. I was a smart guy. I was probably not as smart as I thought that I was, and I can admit that now at the age of 61. And probably one of the biggest lessons I learned was that I needed other people's help to get done what I was doing. I relied on other people inside my department, inside the company, outside the company with trade partners. And one bit of advice, I've heard this many times: if you think you're the smartest person in the room, you need to go find another room. All right, I've heard that many times. And I was one of those guys in my 20s. I wanted to solve everybody's problems, that kind of thing. So, anyway, but luckily I matured out of that. But becoming a good leader, there are a few things to it. Like I said, defining reality. Another one is being approachable.
Mm-hmm.
Good leaders are approachable. And for those leaders out there that are listening, and this is leadership at any level, this is ownership, director, department manager, subdivision, construction manager, whatever it may be, approachable. Do you want to be the corner office with an open door, or the corner office that people are scared to approach?
Right.
Again, I think you know the answer. If you can be approachable and be a problem solver, you're going to be a good leader. And
Mm-hmm.
the third one of these, I've got many, but the third one is, I wish I could have see the people and say, raise your hand if you think you're a good delegator. All right. Most people are not, for all the reasons that we know. But if good leaders can become good delegators, they will become better leaders. I hope I said that the right way. But the ultimate goal in delegating, there are several benefits to it, but a few of the ones are, people might be smarter than you think. You need to give them a chance. They might do stuff either as well as or better than you do. You should both find out. But the primary key and primary advantage is, if you can delegate effectively, that will free you up to focus on the things that you may be the only one that can focus on. Get the other stuff to other people, and you focus on the higher level stuff in that vision side of things, in that market direction. That's what good leaders do. They delegate effectively, and they get in front and they lead.
Yes, absolutely. I think it is so hard to delegate, especially when you are new at it. It's like nobody's quite as good as you are.
Let me throw out there, since you continue, let me throw them out there. Who's heard of this? If I want it done right, I've got to do it myself.
Yep,
Okay. And then how about, no one can do it as well as I can? And the granddaddy of them all, are you ready, Anya? Are you ready?
ready.
Basically, it will take me longer to show someone how to do it than
Mhm.
just doing it myself.
Yes.
Those are the three cripplers of delegation. And
Mhm.
it's hard. It's hard because you're responsible. You have to pick the right people to delegate to. Let me be very clear. Yeah, they have to be trustworthy and all of that stuff that comes with it. But my goodness, be a better delegator and you will be a better leader, without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Now, how can leaders help their teams navigate this maybe transition to a environment, right? Or if we have a cultural change or shift, whether you're talking about adapting to new technology, scaling growth, or just responding to market pressures, there's always something that's shifting. What can great leaders in home building can really do to help their team get on track? If there's a change, how do we implement that change effectively?
Okay. All right. No, excellent question. And basically, it starts with the principles we've already touched on a little bit: being a good leader, which is being approachable. And another one is, here's communication. There are two halves to communication. Number one is getting your message across in a clear, crisp, and concise fashion. So, whatever direction the leader is taking the company, be clear. Let people know what's going on. Share the details with them. They will help you achieve your goals. Don't keep secrets. And again, if you set a vision, let everybody know what it is. My goodness, they'll help you attain it. So if you can do that, that's a good start there. The second half of being a good communicator is being a good listener.
Mhm.
And this is just the basics of it. Eye contact, body language, lack of distractions. If you have your phone with you, put it face down so that when it goes off, it doesn't distract you. Be a good listener. And if the deliverer of a message is not being clear, crisp, and concise, ask them. The last thing you want to do is walk away scratching your head, wondering, oh, what am I supposed to do? Especially if there's some performance standard that is a part of the desired result, like building a house. And so, with that, from the leadership side of things, they have to get their message across clearly and they have to be a good listener. And one tip for any leader out there, potential leader, manager, one thing you can do today to be a better leader, manager, director is be a better listener. You can do it right now. Right now. Just be a better listener, and people will know that you care, you're interested. You might not exactly take everything that they say and implement it, of course, but if you are respectful and you acknowledge that they have a valid point, as valid as it may be, golly, that matters. That is going to let people know that you value their opinion, you value their presence, you value their teamwork. Those are things leaders can do. Those might be in the soft skills side of things, but soft skills are extraordinarily important. I think soft skills are more important than hard skills most of the time. I really do.
I agree with you. I think that's why so many women excel at leadership because we tend to be a little bit better on the EQ side of things.
Oh, yeah,
So
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think that definitely makes sense why women excel at that. So if you have a leader sitting here listening to our conversation and saying, I wonder if somehow I got ourselves into an environment that's a C as opposed to an A, can you give them a quick pointers of how to identify if you are in fact in a C environment as opposed to
Sure.
an A environment? And how do you start to turn that ship around?
Okay. Yes. No. Excellent question. A C environment to me is one in which the overall focus and main goal is, oh gosh, what I'll say is just the transaction. All right. We have so many more lots we need to develop this year. We have to start so many houses this month. We have to close so many houses this month. It is very important. Okay. Try, you have to do this. But if that is the sole focus, then what you can end up with is an environment of the old adage of shoulder to the wheel, nose to the grindstone. The gears are just grinding. And I've been in these situations before, Anya. I've been 36 years. I found myself in some C environments and sometimes even some D environments. Okay. That is D as in dog environments. But basically, that's one of the keys is that you have this environment where people are just drudging and coming in every day and getting the stuff done. Employee morale might be a little bit low. Productivity is marginal. You might be moving product and making some money, but the dynamics of relationships are poor. Productivity is poor. And you just don't have a good environment. You're nodding your head again. You get the idea of what I'm talking about, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, people know. They do. And what will suffer here, of course, the three big things that will suffer are quality of products and services, customer relations, and employee engagement and retention. Those are the big three. And there are other ones, of course, that the variables that come off of those. So, what my suggestion is for anyone that may feel like they are in that type of a environment right now, pick the one of those three that can have the most improvement the quickest
Mhm.
and focus on it. And then pick the next one and then the next one. But you can't do all three at the same time. You'll fail. I've tried that many times. You can only have so many balls in the air that can be secured. And so basically pick that one that's going to matter. Focus your energy on it as a leader, as a manager in case of a departmental situation, and go from there. That's how you start the process of moving from that C to a B to an A environment. And if the leader can effectively engage their associates and their external partners, again, back to this external partner thing, I can't focus on that enough. It is so important. I believe this industry is the king of external partners. I didn't actually build houses. I haven't built a house in 30 years. The trades built the houses. We managed the process. And we had to provide them the proper information to build the houses effectively, which is a good set of plans, a good color selection sheet, accurate purchase orders, a good schedule, all of that stuff that will allow the trades to build the houses effectively. And what that ties into as well on the sales and marketing side of things is that if the operational side can do that, then that makes the job of the marketing and sales side of things a little easier as well because they're confident in the operation. They know that what they are promoting in the marketplace is going to come to pass. Again, there are going to be challenges all the time, okay, hurdles and this, that, and the other, and that's out there. But on a consistent basis, if the operational side of things can produce in the manner that is committed to, then that just helps everybody along the way. And that's how you do it. But you have to pick those one or two very sore spots and put real focus, honest focus on it. You can't nibble around the edges. You have to go through it. But if you're committed to it, make improvements there, and that will move the needle. That's how you do it.
Mhm. So sometimes when you find yourself in that kind of environment, it's often there's one or two toxic people that usually have been there for a long time. And, those people that tend to drag everybody else down. So if you happen to be working with one or two of those people, what do you do as an employee when maybe you're not the boss, you're not the leader? How do you handle the situation where those individuals bringing the whole team down?
Mhm.
Is that something that you just have to separate yourself from, or like how do you move on, or is there hope for you?
There's hope for you. The best thing that could happen, though, I'm going to answer your question in a different way for to start, is that if that person that you're mentioning is that much of a problem, then it's up to leadership to make a change. Okay, let's be very clear. And unless, of course, that person is the leader of the company. All right. Okay, so we'll go there. But what can happen there is that, and I get that question quite a bit when I have sessions with people. How, if I'm just an associate, how can I manage up? Is kind of what you're getting at.
Right.
And basically, what you do there is you approach that superior boss, whatever it is, and say, hey, you know what? I'm here. I really want to do a good job. I come in every day. Here are some things that I would like to suggest we do for me to become a better performer. And so it starts with that employee. If they want to make a difference with their superiors, they have to go in and say, hey, I'm here. I want to do the best job that I can. Can you help me do that?
Mhm.
If you can go that route with it rather than being argumentative and the blame game and all that kind of stuff, that I think is a great place to start.
Mhm.
And you work your way around it that way. But the major factor in this, and it is the number one chapter in my book, I may have mentioned this, it's attitude. Attitude is the facet in life that has the most influence over our success and happiness. Other people and circumstances can influence it, but they can never, ever control it. That's up to the individual. And so if you can have a positive attitude, that's going to help. It's not going to solve everything, of course, but it's going to help have most circumstances get a favorable outcome. But basically, back to your question again, if that tough person is there, approach them with this willingness to serve, if you will. I want to
Mhm.
do as good a job as I can. Can you help me do that? Does that make sense to you, Anya?
Yeah, absolutely.
How you do it?
I think it's not always easy to do that. And oftentimes, if you're in that situation and it happens to be the leader, then they may not be as receptive to that. But yeah, I think it's always better to start off that way and try
Yeah,
to avoid confrontation as much as possible, name calling and things like that. But
of
yeah,
course.
I've heard some stories of some work environments that
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, how do you guys even function in this?
Oh,
In
yeah. Look, I've been there. I've been there in my career. And the one key to this is, and like you said, you have to be respectful and all of that. But this is that fundamental premise of if you put an A performer in a C environment, what's going to happen? They're going to leave.
right.
I mean, they're not going to produce that. They're going to leave. And it's hard to hire people these days. Years ago, there were just people standing in line waiting to get a job. I had many choices. I was a hiring manager for years. I hired hundreds and hundreds of people over the years. And generally, I had a lot of prospects all the time. That doesn't exist these days. And so, if the effort is made to hire an individual, it's hard to hire people these days with all of the administrative stuff and onboarding, all of those things that are very important. You need to do what you can to keep them. And if part of that is making sure that as leadership, you create that A environment, then that's going to be helpful. And hopefully that's a good message that I can send out there to everybody. Create that A environment and you will get A performance. I'm convinced of it. I'm just convinced of it.
Yeah. I think that one of the challenges is that some leaders, they're oftentimes they're promoted from something that they were not in the leadership position before. And
Mhm.
so they're learning how to be a leader on the job. And oftentimes it doesn't come with training. So yeah, it
Yeah.
becomes challenging. So hopefully they can find their way to you. So you mentioned one of the things that you can control and that's going to make the most impact is your attitude.
Mhm.
So can you talk to us a little bit about the ways that you can effectively change your attitude? Say if you're in a rut, maybe you're in a work environment that's not the most positive, you don't feel this economy is going and it's like just not happening for you. So how can we turn it around? It's not as easy as
Um,
just saying one, two, three.
it's not. It's got to be it's got to be a mindset. People have to really put forth some effort to do this. But it ties back to what we talked about early with those things that we cannot control. If anybody gets wound up and really sucked into these issues that they cannot control, then they're going to find themselves in a bad spot. Number one, realize you cannot control some of these things and you have to move on. With regard to attitude, I've got a few things here that I like to talk about. Number one is that I think I might have mentioned this already, that if you can maintain a positive attitude as often as possible, then I believe most circumstances can have a favorable outcome. Some outcomes will be better than others, but favorable is a good one where it's positive. And the other thing is that attitudes are contagious. Positive attitudes are contagious, and so are negative attitudes.
Yeah.
And as human beings, we tend to attract ourselves to positive things. So I'm going to seek out people that have a positive attitude. We avoid negative things. So the people with negative attitudes, I'm going to avoid them. And I think most people do the same thing. You see them coming down the hall and you quickly go into a closet or in the bathroom or turn around or whatever. You just don't want to deal with these people. You're smiling. You know who I'm talking about. Okay. No
Right.
names, of course. But basically, that's why I said it is up to the individual. This is the facet of life that has the most influence over success and happiness. It's the attitude. So start with that. Now, another one, number two in my A performer trait category is wake up frame of mind. I'm having so much fun with this material, Anya. It's crazy. Your day starts when you pull your head up off your pillow. Yes, other factors will come into play, weather and traffic and kids and pets and all the stuff that makes life go around. But your day starts when you open your eyes. It's going to set the tone for a good day, a mediocre day, or a poor day. And I actually believe the stage is set the night before. Now, I am not a clinical psychologist, nor am I a sleep expert, but I think it just makes common sense that if you put your head down on your pillow at night in a good frame of mind, you got a chance of waking up in a good frame of mind. So if you're not waking up well, go back to the nights before. How do you get yourself into a better night? Check one more thing off the box of things to do, or whatever it may be that works for you. Do
Mhm.
that, and that's going to help you. Get into a morning routine, whatever this may be. First cup of coffee, exercise, read some scripture, watch the news. I walk my dogs early in the morning. It's been my therapy for 30 years now, walking my dogs at 4:30 in the morning. I'm a very early riser. My great time of the day. But to tie all these things together, attitude is number one, and then wake up frame of mind, getting into a morning routine of some sort that works for you. It's got to work for you, and that's going to set the tone for whether you have a good day, bad day, or a mediocre day. And tying those things into the workplace, that will help you with that frame of mind to go into maybe that C environment and do the best you can until either changes are made or you decide that you need to change and you need to go somewhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Good tips. Thank you for that.
Good.
What do you hope that builders or any leaders reading this book will take away from this?
What I hope they will take away is my A environment blueprint is really very solid.
Mhm.
And the seven components, I'll go ahead and throw them out there. The seven components are in this order of importance until we get to the last one: vision, leadership, structure, commitment, discipline, communication, and then relationships tie it all together. And when I engage with leadership teams, that's what we focus on. We go through all seven of those components and we identify what's working well and why, and what's not working well and why. So the key here is to take a step back, take a deep breath, and have an honest assessment of where you are. And once we can pursue those seven components, Then we identify the ones that are going to move the needle the most, like anything else, just pick one or two and focus on that. That is how you're going to be able to get grounded and you are going to be able to move through tough market conditions. I tell you, if you ground yourself and stick to your principles, stick to your why, you're going to make it. You're going to make it. And let other people know how committed you are, and they will help you attain it as well.
Love that. So, Farrell, if somebody wants to learn more about your coaching, about your book, where do people go to find out more information?
Okay, excellent. My website is thebellcurveoflife.com. My email address is Farrell, that's Farrell, at thebellcurveoflife.com. I got a cell phone number. I won't give that out. It's on the website, but I even gave that out to my homeowners. Okay, I wasn't scared of anybody. Never have been, never will be. I've got a YouTube channel as well, which is at The Bell Curve of Life. I'm on LinkedIn. That's my main social media platform. I do have minor Facebook and Instagram, but I'm mainly LinkedIn. But that's how people can get in touch with me. And my A Performer, A Environment message, I offered in four distinct ways. I've got the book. I do keynote speaking presentations. I do 90-minute small group sessions, which is where real value comes in. And I'm just about to start here in the Atlanta area some 60-minute workshops for this material that are going to be in person. And I'm very excited about that. I'm starting those next month here in the Atlanta area. Really excited about that. I'm going to be able to share this message with a lot of people as quickly as I can. That's what I want to do.
Amazing. Congratulations on all your success. And I know it's not easy to write a book. Before I let you go, was there anything that I did not ask you today that you think would be important for our listeners to understand?
No, I think you were very thorough on this, but my last message is get my book. It's on audio version as well. It's available in all the places,
Nice.
Amazon, Kindle, Audible. I narrated the book. But really, guys, adopt these principles. Again, they are 100% under your control.
Mhm.
Adopt and embrace these, and you'll live a better life. And if you can do that, then that will help again, your associates and your external partners be A performers. That's the key. This material is, I don't want to simplify it, but it's simple concepts. And I believe simple concepts drive complex behavior. Grab these. They're really good. They're very practical, and you can put them into use almost immediately. So that's my hopeful takeaway from everybody listening to this today.
Love that. And what I love most about it is that it's all in your hands, right? You get to control it. So you don't have to rely on somebody else externally. You
Mhm.
get to control what happens. So I love that
Absolutely.
message.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Farrell, for being here today. Really enjoyed our conversation. It was great to get to know you. And you guys be sure to pick a copy of the book. I will link it in the show notes and find out more about the coaching and all the wonderful opportunities that you have to learn from somebody who's been in our industry for over 36 years. So with that, Farrell, thank you for being here and I'll talk to you very soon.
Yeah. Thanks so much. I've had a wonderful time. Thank you.
Bye-bye.